Welcome to this demonstration of Project Resource Estimating and Planning, also known as PREP. In this video, we'll be emphasizing the estimating aspects of PREP. For an overview of PREP's functions, please see the short video titled An Introduction to PREP. If you haven't reviewed that video, you may want to start there. The third video in the series focuses on the planning and scheduling functions of PREP. Now we join Tim, the VP of Sales, as he visits Rick, a project manager, to generate an estimate for a new bid for work.
Hey Rick, Gene over at the phone company called and wants us to give them a quote on building another video conference room for them. This time in building 42. Do we have some time to work with me and put this thing together?
As a matter of fact, I can take the time now. Pull up a chair and let's see if we can knock this thing out. Did you bring the specs with you?
Sure did. Here you go, Rick.
Okay, let's see. This looks pretty straightforward. How about we just rough cut the estimate to start with, just to make sure we can make money on this?
It's okay by me.
Actually, this looks almost identical to the one we're doing for them now over in Building 40. Let's start the process by cloning that one. So what I'll do is, here I am in estimating. I'll bring up Building 40. And now I'm just going to jump out here to Project Maintenance. And I'm going to do a little shortcut here. I've brought this up. And I'll do a standard Solomon cloning operation. And we'll create Project SK441. Just copy that in and we'll make this Building 42. And then I'm going to go over here. I don't need this task. Okay, let's see. So we've got engineering design, installation, review and closeout. We'll just save that. Now when I come back, I'll load that in. And here we are. We've created the SK441 in our estimate entry screen. Now what I'm going to do is I've created the project from a similar project. Now I'll go in here to the copy function. Save those changes. And I'm going to say I want to copy the estimate information from SK440. So I'll go in and simply tag these tasks. And I'm going to flag that I want to copy the rough cut resources. In case we want to do the detailed estimate, I'll copy those too. Copy the expenses and other costs. Now when I execute copy, all this does is copy everything from SK440. We now effectively have a clone that we can begin to work with. And the last piece here is I'll go ahead and change this to rough cut estimate.
Wow. Boy, Rick, that looked pretty easy. But we've got a project here now. Aren't we running a risk of creating a new project to do the estimate? What if people started charging their time to it, even though we shouldn't be?
Well, you know, let me show you something here. Actually, one of the things I did, I forgot to do that. Notice the project is actually active. I don't really want that, so I'm going to jump back out to Project Maintenance, and I'm going to go down here and change the status flag to Plan. By doing that, informs the accounting system that this is basically an invisible project, so nobody can charge any cost to this. We're just in the estimating. Okay, so now we have a rough cut estimate. You notice that we have the resource categories down the left-hand side here. These were copied in from the other estimate. As we move across here, we can see we have requirement for 20 hours of consultants and 30 hours of designers and 10 hours of facilities, etc. This has worked up a cost number on this task and a billing estimate on this task. If we were to go to look at each individual task, you can see that those numbers change, as do the requirements for those rough cut categories.
Well, that was developed pretty fast. But where do these rough cut cost and billing numbers actually come from?
Well, of course, we could have loaded these things in manually, but we, very quickly copied them in from the other project, so we can go ahead and change these. But if I switch to form view on this particular resource category where we needed 20 hours of consultants, you notice here we have a cost rate and we have a billing rate. Those rates are associated with this particular resource category, as well as identifying the account categories so we can drive the stuff into the budgets later on.
I see. Now that I'm thinking about it, do you think we're going to need as much time for designers on this job? Maybe we should reduce that.
Actually, that's a good point, because this job is almost exactly like the other one, so probably we only need about 10 hours of designers. And you'll notice when I tab off that the cost and billing numbers here will change. Okay, they drop down here very nicely, so that to reflect our adjustment.
Great, that was simple enough. How can we quickly tell what kind of a profit we're making on it? I guess I could subtract those billing from estimate, but is there another way to see that?
Sure. Profit view button right here. Go ahead and save the changes. We now bring up a separate pane that shows us our profit view, so we can see that the estimate across the tasks has generated this billing value, this cost estimate, and here's our projected profit with a gross margin projection of 42.3%, which is a nice fat margin.
That's not bad at all.
No, sure isn't.
How could I find out, is there a way to find out what the material cost was on this particular job?
Oh, absolutely simple. All I need to do is, if I want to see it across all tasks, I can collapse the tasks first, and then when I expand by account category, now I'm seeing by account category, and I see my cost estimate for materials is $10,000. If I want to see if that's across multiple tasks, when I expand the tasks, I can see in this case it was all on task 2, whereas down here the other direct costs were spread across 3 different tasks here.
Wow, that's a lot of flexibility right at my fingertips. That's super, Rick. Looks like we're going to be able to make a profit on this, but as you know, I'm so fond of always saying the devil's in the details.
Well, then let's do a detailed estimate.
Great.
Okay, so all I have to do now is switch here to detailed estimate. Change the planning stage to detailed estimate, and we'll notice that it's brought in detailed resources. It has brought the expenses over that we had set up here, where these are coming out of the expense type list. And if I switch this to, well, we don't have to. We see the cost rate that came out as the default, and we have a billing rate that came out of the multi-level rate table. That's how that's worked up.
So all these resources are here because of what we did with the copy in the beginning?
Uh-huh.
I see. So just like everything else, if we don't like one of the copied resources, I suppose we could exchange it with another one. Is that right?
You've got it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I see that Prep is bringing in cost and billing rates for each resource. Is this much like we did at the resource category level when we did the rough cut?
It is, except that for detailed resources, it's actually going out to the multi-level rate tables to get the cost and billing rates, whereas with the rough cut resources, it was there at the resource category level.
I see. And what if a resource's active rate is different from the rate on the project we copied? Maybe because this rate might have been the rate that was effective last year.
No problem. It's if there's a different rate that's effective for this project task time frame, Prep will pick it up.
I see. So it sounds like Prep is handling anticipated costs nearly identically to the way that we'll collect the actual cost on the live project.
That's exactly right. That's Prep's goal, is to match up the estimating function as closely as possible with what your anticipated cost will be.
And that's really key to getting an accurate estimate. Totally cool. Did we have to do a rough cut estimate? Couldn't we have just jumped into and done a detailed estimate?
Yeah, but I usually like to do a flinch test before I spend time at the more detailed level. Sometimes I don't even do a detailed estimate if I'm careful with a rough cut. Sometimes I don't even do an estimate at all, but I'll jump right into scheduling.
I see. It seems like there's a lot of flexibility here.
Yes, sir. Okay, let's set the initial schedule on this project and then see if these resources are available for this project in the coming weeks. So I'm going to bring up schedule management and review because I was working in this, because we want to reschedule the project out to around the 12th of July, I think I heard you say before.
Isn't this the screen you usually use for scheduling, Rick?
It is, but that's what we actually want to do. Remember, let me look out here to show you. We jump out to this project, and we'll see that remember, it got scheduled in here at these dates because we copied it from 440.
Roger.
Well, what we really want to do is push it out to 712 because after all, some rates that we for people that we selected on the estimate might change as a result of effectivity date changing.
Yep.
So if we reschedule it, before we generate our estimate and quote and stuff, prep will handle taking that into consideration. So let me just slide this out here. That's Saturday. We want to go to Monday. I'll push this out a couple more days, and we'll click Display Change. Now what this is doing is going through and rescheduling. And when I jump out to the project now, it's scheduled out here to start on the 12th, and that would take care of any of the rate changes, etc. I'm going to go ahead and commit the change. And then just to be on the safe side, let's go out and review our availability of resources. We're on the Project Schedule tab. I'm going to switch to the Resource Schedule tab, and we'll now jump out here to the week of the 12th of July, which is out here. Looks like things are pretty wide open in terms of the folks that we currently have selected for.
Looks like there's not much happening out in that time of the summer.
Right.
But this is pretty cool. I can see that this will really help if you decide to use another resource or substitute one for another. But what if the resource has vacation scheduled or doctor's appointment or something like that?
Not a problem. I can go down here to the Gantt settings, which will go ahead. There are options in there that let me select to include all resources if I want to see that, or specifically if I want to see all the capacity, regardless of whether there's load or not. If there's a